Okay, so today I am not going to be talking about something that is like super hard-hitting or ugly or shameful and stuff like that, which quite honestly, when I was like brainstorming what to talk about, I thought those were the things that qualified what I need to talk about, but that's just not what's going on in my life right now. There is something very distinct and clear that God has been moving in me through. So that's what I'm going to talk about today because it's still very important. And that is that I am a huge complainer. Woo! It takes so much effort, genuinely, for me to not complain about something when I'm going through something hard or when I don't feel well or whatever it might be. And God gave me a huge reality check about this past summer when I was at LT, or leadership training, for those of you who haven't heard of it. It started when I was convinced that my job for the summer was going to be a camp counselor. I was like going into the summer thinking I would be outdoors the whole time, playing with kids. And like disclaimer, being a camp counselor is not the easiest job in the world. But you will not be shocked to hear that I was super surprised and disappointed when I found out I would be a dishwasher for the entire summer. I was like, oh no, this changed everything for my plans. It meant the first week I would be missing some events. I'd be washing dishes the whole summer instead of being outside and like working weekends, even though I still had 2 days off. I was like, no, I won't get the weekends off. Poor me. And I did not miss a chance to tell anybody about this. The entire first week of events that I did get to go to, I was just like sad. And I would tell all my coworkers in the kitchen who were like, oh, like, are you excited to be here? I was like, no, this is not my first choice of job. Just being like super disappointing. And so the first day of summer, I just like started sobbing during my lunch break. Now, this is important to know. There were 5 other people in the LT program who also worked in the kitchen and like were washing dishes with me. They did not cry during their lunch break. They were having a good old time, like appreciating the things that they got to do because they had a positive attitude. So I was mad. This is coming off. I do not have this now. Okay, so I was mad and I was upset and I felt super alone because the camp counselors were doing scavenger hunts while I was working. But my perspective was just completely wrong. And God was going to do a huge work in my life over the summer through this job that wouldn't have been possible if I was working a different job because he had placed me there on purpose. And all of this he was going to do, but first he had to shift my perspective on my job and the position he had put me in. And it happened with this small but important interaction. So I was praying and journaling one morning on the porch, and I had to go into work at noon. And I had found out during breakfast that morning that the big dishwashing machine had broken. Whoa, horrible. I would have to be working so much harder. Ample complaining opportunity, right? Like I was geared to go. So my coworker, Isaac, he passes me on the porch, and I'm like, Isaac, guess what I heard? You won't believe this. The dishwasher broke. It's not the worst thing in the world. And I was like ready for him and I to just bond over how horrible that was. And he just like without breaking stride just goes, oh my goodness, woohoo. Like more people are going to come into the dish room and like we're going to have a dishwashing party and get it done. That's awesome. And he like turns into the inn and like walks through and I was like, what was that? Like, why did I not like have somebody join in with me in this complaining opportunity? And in that moment, God just highlighted that conversation for me. He said, that's what you need. That is the change that I want to see in you. And so I started taking mental notes of when I was complaining and who I was complaining to and who I was hurting by complaining instead of taking moments to like praise God and stuff. And I realized how much I was complaining and took a hard look at what I gained from complaining versus what I got from it. And what God has showed me is that when we complain, we are pitying ourselves, and we are saying to God, I'm not happy with what you've given me, and I don't trust you enough to use it for good. In James 1:2-4, it says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking in anything. So it says right there in James, like trials of many kinds, big or little, produce perseverance. And like that was probably going out to the people who were being persecuted for like living for Jesus. And I just take it to like address the issues of me working in a dish room, you know, like trials of big or small, like are going to produce perseverance and God's going to use it. I haven't certainly stopped all my complaining, but I have been way more aware and tried to complain less. And by rooting out the complaints in my life and replacing it with positivity, people have noticed something different. My mom has mentioned it. Coworkers at Target this past fall have mentioned it. Like, they notice. And they see someone who has joy in moments of stress when everyone else is complaining. And it also benefits my own life because in moments of anxiety or sadness, when I switch from thinking about everything going wrong to the way God can bless me, then I just have more joy, and it relieves that stress and anxiety. So moral of the snapshot is count it joy when you're suffering. It's okay to be upset or hurt by things, big or small. And I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad for when they are genuinely sharing their struggles and things they're going through, because that is important. But I'm just trying to say that God is not only can, but he promises to use your suffering for good. And he used my job this summer to testify to others about him in extraordinary ways. I'm so thankful and blessed that I got to work in the kitchen at Silver Bay. What an opportunity. But yeah, it's up to us to choose what comes out of our mouths when we speak. Are you going to speak about how bad your situation is? Or are you going to speak about how good you have it in every situation because your happiness and joy are being used by God to make a difference in someone else's life? So yeah, I'm Lily, and that is my snapshot.